Hi again. So I wanted to talk a little bit about benefits. So I touched on this a little bit in the other video, so some of this is going to be a repeat. I started thinking about all the benefits that I've noticed since I've started meditating, and all I could think about was, what really is your perspective of benefit? Because mine is completely shifted. So when I first started doing this, I wanted the obvious benefits: feeling better, more energy, mentally clearer, just feeling better in general, right? All of that I noticed. I was able to focus better. I was able to be more present. A lot of what I was noticing when I first started was terrifying. I noticed a lot of anger, which is normal, especially if you aren't present with yourself most of the time. You can't notice what's actually happening until you actually step into it, right? I felt physically better. I slept better. My connections felt better, mostly because I was more present. Obviously, being more present is a huge benefit. And as I've continued to do this and I've stuck with it, my perspective on benefit has changed. So I would ask you first to think about what you actually mean. What does benefit actually mean to you? What exactly is it are you looking for? My whole goal when I first started doing meditation, kundalini yoga, the work by Byron Katie, tapping, it was to live from my authentic self. That was it. I didn't really have anything else. There were, yes, money is wonderful. Yes, relationships are wonderful. Yes, huge home is wonderful. All of these things are wonderful. So don't misunderstand it. I'm not dismissing those if those are your goals. That's got nothing to do with that. When I actually sat down to think about why am I doing this? What is actually the purpose of doing this? Well, I was in a really, really bad position. Nothing else had worked. All of the other stuff I had tried, it worked for a little bit, but it didn't actually last for very long. So I was at a really low point, and then I found kundalini yoga, and it's one of the few things that I've actually stuck with, even when it got hard. And when I sat there and I looked at what I actually wanted, it was authenticity. It was me actually being myself. No hiding, no prison cells, no blocks. I'm not trapping myself in my chest. I'm not hiding who I am. I'm just me. So as I continue to go through the process of meditation, and by extension awakening my kundalini energy through kundalini yoga, I noticed that all of these struggles that I kept running from or that I couldn't face at the time, that was part of the benefit, because I could now actually sit within it and see what the problem was. Half of the time, just sitting with it and making it to the other side of whatever is on that block, that's part of your kundalini energy rising, because that block is preventing it from spiraling up. My experience, okay, this is all my experience with all of this. And for me, my kundalini energy rising and bringing healing is directly connected to my meditative practice. Now, I meditate every single day. That's non-negotiable. I don't miss. There are no cheat days. It's none of that. I maintain it, whether I'm feeling fantastic, I'm feeling okay, I'm feeling awful. It doesn't matter. There's a meditation that's happening, multiple meditations in my situation presently. So part of the benefit also for me was dedication. I found my dedication to myself. I can show up for myself all the time. without fail. It doesn't matter if I'm feeling amazing, I'm feeling okay, I'm feeling awful. I still show up. And in those moments where I'm feeling awful and I get really mean and I get really abusive with myself, I'm telling myself I can't, I'm not good enough, all of the usual stuff, I can actually show myself compassion. I'm more patient with myself and by extension everybody else. That compassion that I can show to myself now is by extension everyone else is included in that. So for me, there really isn't an absence of benefit. It really comes down to what is your definition of benefit? Because I physically feel better, I physically have more energy, I eat better. Doesn't mean I don't chunk it and eat crap sometimes. That happens too. Especially when I'm emotionally struggling or I come up with an issue that's really deep rooted and I'm struggling to let it go. My eating is correlated to that, well, with certain issues. So great, I'm no longer eating healthy all the time. Cool, so what's happening emotionally? Where am I at mentally? Because these are going to be connected for me. Again, this is my experience. It doesn't mean that this is the same thing you're going to go through. So stop and sit with yourself right now and look at what benefit actually means to you. Why are you doing this practice? What exactly is it that you actually want? What actually matters to you? And not in some abstract way. Not, again, because yes, cars, homes, constant flow of money, healthy relationships, those are all wonderful things. Great, keep working for those. It's just what actually matters to you right here, right now. Why are you doing the meditations? What benefits are you actually looking for? Because those are the ones that you're going to inherently call to you. That's actually what you're working to uncover at the present moment. That's part of the meditative practice. Emotionally, I feel stronger. Emotionally, I'm better able to handle all of the fluctuations that happen, especially when I'm hitting deep-rooted issues. Mentally, I feel clearer, and when I start to kind of fade off or I'm zoning out, I can check into that and see why. It's because, okay, so I'm kind of dedicating myself to stuff that it's old habit more than anything that's necessary. Not saying that, a job that you're not super thrilled about. I've been there, have a few of those going on at the moment. Not saying that checking out on those isn't part of what is needed right now, because as you work through this, that's part of what you need to work through. That's why it's present now. It doesn't mean it won't change. It doesn't mean that you give up on changing it. It just means that you accept that this situation presently is happening right now. Your meditative practice changes that, because each time you sit with yourself, each time you are present with yourself, you make those changes. They happen automatically. It's not a struggle. That being said, sometimes the meditation itself is the struggle, like holding your arm up like that. It was a struggle for me today. It was really hard. Both shoulders were already vibrating. This arm is starting to twitch. This one's already like, hey, cool. Can we drop now? It's like, we're only 2 minutes in, so no, we're not lowering anytime soon. I'm better able to be fully myself with people, whereas before I would run a lot easier. Still struggling with that aspect. And that's okay. That's because I need to work through it in a process. I need to baby step myself. Otherwise, I'm going to change too much too fast, and it's going to be more than I can handle, and then I'm going to run, and that's going to be worse than me just allowing myself to process through. So I allow myself more patience. That's another benefit. That being said, the blocks that I have, the struggles that I've directly placed myself into, especially right now, as infuriating as they are, as maddening as it can be, these are benefits to me, because I'm finally just sitting with them. Again, all of the emotional stuff that comes up, I'm better able to sit with it and to look at, okay, but I'm doing this because it matters. I don't want to just get to the end of it and rush my way through it. That's what I've done this entire time. So I'm here again. This time I'm giving myself patience, I'm giving myself compassion, I'm giving myself love, and I'm just sitting in it. Now, that is not the same thing as wallowing, okay? That I'm not saying that if you're struggling, you just wallow in it. This isn't a pity party. I don't feel bad for myself. I don't sit there and go, oh my God, why me? I see it more as, cool, what do I need to learn? What's going on here? What am I teaching myself? What is it that I've missed the first 300 times? I've already gone through this. So it's a process. I honestly, as you go through this and you let go of things and you get past your block, you heal your blocks, you get over it and you get through it, however that comes through for you, however that looks for you, when you get to the other side of that, the sense of empowerment and the sense of self is just exquisite. I don't have the vocabulary to explain it. I just don't. It's incredible. So ask yourself, what does benefit actually look like to you right here, right now? Write it down. And as you go through this, when we get to the end of the 40 days, ask yourself again, what does benefit look like to me now? And see how it shifted. If it shifted a huge amount, fantastic. If it shifted a tiny bit, fantastic. There's no real measurement here. The only thing that you can really measure is where you're at, and to love that. Each tiny step is massive, especially if this is something that you've struggled with, whatever this is. So I'm going through a cycle. I'm actually going through several repeating cycles. I'm more patient with myself, and I'm actually allowing the frustration to just flow freely instead of running from it or just blowing everything up as I run. Those are huge steps. They don't sound like it. For me, it's massive. So those are some of the benefits. And there's the obvious ones. I think more clearly, I physically feel better. I physically have more energy. I'm emotionally more engaged. I'm mentally more engaged. Honestly, the biggest benefit for me is living from my authentic self, is fully being present, even in those moments where I'm like, oh, this is awkward. There's so much awkwardness. I'm being so weird right now. I'm fully present with those moments. And for me, that's huge. That's unspeakably precious to me. So it's easy to want guideposts, especially with meditation, especially with inner work. It's important to see where other people have come. Please don't let that be the only guiding post you have. Please start taking stock of your own guiding posts. A perfect way to do that is to write down what benefits look like to you where you're at right now. What actually matters to you from this point right here, right now. And you can kind of see your own guideposts. And that's going to help you anchor into you, so that anytime you have shifts, you're actually coming to you, which you're the ultimate authority on your own growth, your own process. It's important to have that aspect as well. Not saying other people don't matter, not saying that at all, just saying that a huge part of this for me has been having the anchor within myself. That's been another huge benefit for me. I'm not going outside for all the answers. Yes, I still look to other people as far as their guideposts go, or so like with certain poses in Kriyas, or like with one of the creativity meditation, when we go like this, I still don't know what this actual rhythm, like what does it do, right? I can't find the answers for that. So for my own experience, it's empowerment. It's lifting the energy. It's taking the energy from the earth, flipping it over, and then bringing it up. That's just my own experience. And I still have a tendency to be like, yeah, but I don't have anybody else to validate that with, because they're smarter than me. They've done it more than me. Maybe, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it lines up with what I've got going on either. So just keep the two balanced. Make sure that you have a solid center with you too, that you're checking in with you as well. So if you're meditating and someone says something that your authentic self is like, but that's not true for me. Honor your authentic self, because that's your guide, that's your compass, that's your star, that's your core, right? So make sure that you have an anchor to that. Okay, so this video was a little bit longer than I meant it to be, but I love meditation. I love talking about this stuff. So I hope all of you had a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.